back to the Daily Grind. Thanks for checking out the channel. Make sure to hit subscribe if you're new and hit thumbs up if you're not a baby back bagel biting bitch boy, cause you know what time it is. It's full time.
MMA.
Are you guys ready to have some fun full-time family? Walk with me. This video is probably about to go all type of ways, and you're probably about to learn some things that you really don't even give a fuck about, as far as Chael Sonnen, Kate Quigley, and my knowledge of both of these people, and then just the general topic of what's going on. It's not like any breaking MMA news. This is just something. So if you're here for some MMA news, at the end of the video, don't write in the fucking comments, bro, how does this matter? How is this news? It's not, you fucking dipshit. Why are you listening to this video? Why did you click it? It says in the title whatever the fuck it's gonna say by the time I title it. But with that being said, this video is about Chael Sonnen being caught on Twitter stealing it. The article that I read, it said was steals a joke from a random Twitter user, but when I clicked the article I was like, Kate Quigley, that's not a fucking random Twitter user, that's a comedian. How do I know that? Because I listen to the fucking Joey Diaz podcast. You know who else listens to the Joey Diaz podcast? Chael Sonnen. You know how I know that? Because I listen to the Chael Sonnen podcast, and on the Chael Sonnen podcast, he mentions the Joey Diaz podcast, and on the Joey Diaz podcast, he mentions Kate Quigley a lot. He talks about how he would like to take a fucking Coke rock and put it, okay. Some of you guys listen to Joey Diaz and know where I was going. Some of you guys, you don't. Okay, now with that being said, let's get into this joke that was stolen, allegedly. I mean, I don't even fucking know. I would assume so, because a lot of people don't know that tie. Like, you know, if Chael Sonnen listens to the Joey Diaz podcast as he says, I'm sure he knows who Kate Quigley is. So, with that being said, it would make sense how Chael Sonnen moseyed on over to Kate Quigley's Twitter and stole a fucking joke like the gangster he is. And if you didn't know who Chael Sonnen is, there might be a comedian listening to this video, or a fan of a comedian that's like, who the fuck is this guy, Chael Sonnen? Let me tell you who Chael Sonnen is. He's a motherfucking gangster from Westland Pete, Oregon. He's the American badass. He's the bad guy. If you don't know about Chael P. Sonnen, fucking look him up. And if you think Chael Sonnen cares about taking your joke, you're fucking wrong. Put another joke up and dare Chael Sonnen not to take it, and check his Twitter the next fucking day. It's gonna be there because Chael Sonnen is a gangster. Alright, with that being said, that's who Chael Sonnen is. Alright, who's Kate Quigley? Kate Quigley is a comedian. The joke that was stolen is just a guy wearing a hat that says, "Don't bother me." So I asked him where to get it, how much it costs, and if it works. Alright, it's a funny little ha ha ha. But let me just go into this. I understand, you know, I also listen to the Joe fucking Rogan podcast. You might ask, how do you listen to all these fucking podcasts and have a YouTube channel? Well, bitch, if you don't know the backstory, I got a fucking job and I listen to podcasts at my job, but we're not going to get into that right now. But I also listen to, I don't even fucking know where I was just at, dog. With that be, oh yeah, the fucking Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan, he's a big guy. Joe Rogan definitely wasn't made famous by this, but there was an infamous incident where Joe Rogan and he confronted Carlos Mencia for stealing a joke way back in the day. Carlos Mencia, you might remember him from the Mind of Mencia. Holy fuck, where is this video going? I don't know, but go with me. You might remember him from the fucking Mind of Mencia. I remember I used to like that show. I didn't know anything about Carlos Mencia stealing jokes until I found out about Joe Rogan confronting him. So, with that all being said, Joe Rogan is a prominent figurehead in the MMA community, which is where Chael Sonnen is from. Joe Rogan is also a prominent figure in the stand-up comedian community, which is where Kate Quigley is from, which is the only reason I'm talking about Joe Rogan right now. Joe Rogan is a known guy that speaks out, and he's, really against joke thieves and people who steal jokes and shit like that. Well, I'm just curious if that's only like when a comedian steals somebody's joke, or if this falls into that. Because Chael Sonnen, yeah, you can say he's stealing a joke, but let me just fucking give you my 2 cents. Whenever I read a joke on Twitter, which I really don't read them on Twitter because I'm not on Twitter like that, but whenever I read a joke anywhere, fucking any form of social media, I don't think, who wrote this joke? No, I usually assume that every single joke like this, little corny joke that I read, is probably taken from someone else. I mean, now that's just my skepticism. Kate Quigley wrote this joke like a few months before Chael Sonnen wrote it, so he had to have been digging. Hey, Chael Sonnen was low-key fucking, he was going through her Twitter history to get this joke. Yo, Chael, you checking on Kate Quigley? I hear you. Hey, Joey Diaz make you want to do that. I'm like, yo, who the fuck is Kate Quigley that Joey Diaz is always time at? Now we know this is Kate Quigley, and might I say, she's a beautiful woman. Maybe that explains why Chael Sonnen was so fucking far down her Twitter. Maybe he wasn't just looking for jokes. Who knows? With that being said, I'll just play Chael Sonnen's Mary. I don't know. I'm just fucking talking my shit like I do. If you're still listening, I don't want to hear any fucking complaints because you're still listening. Now, let's continue. Chael Sonnen took one of her jokes. She found out, I don't know if a fan pointed it out to her, she said, at Chael Sonnen, flattered, you know, because imitation is the greatest form of flattery, or however that fucking saying goes. Most sincere version of flattery, you get the fucking point. So she's saying she's flattered that Chael Sonnen would imitate her joke on Twitter. Now, a lot of fucking comedians are really against joke thieves and all of that shit. I am a big fan of comedy, and I would consider myself like a comedian as far as I love, like, entertaining as far as like a comedic way, making people laugh, but I've never been on a stand-up stage or anything like that, so I wouldn't actually call myself a fucking comedian. But I've got a fucking comedian inside me, you know what I'm saying? But I haven't released the demon yet. But I'm not a fucking, I understand it. If you tell a joke, you don't want someone to steal it, you don't want someone to steal your stuff. But as far as these like Twitter memes and shit, I don't know. Even on that other shit, I don't even know where to go on that as far as joke thieves. Yeah, if you're a comedian, like what Carlos Mencia, and I'm bringing up Carlos Mencia because they're calling Chelos Mencia. Pretty fucking funny. But with Carlos Mencia and with stand-up comedians, to me it's different than like stealing a fucking joke on Twitter. Now, with a stand-up comedian, it's different. Like what Carlos Mencia used to do, according to the fucking all the different comedian podcasts I listen to a bunch of different comedian podcasts, motherfucker. It's not just Joe Rogan. I got Ari Shaffir on deck. Okay, I'm not gonna go into all of them, but what Carlos Mencia allegedly used to do was like steal somebody's jokes, and then they would be coming on like after him or before him, and he would tell that person's joke. So he was a real fucking scumbag with what he used to do, according to everything I've heard. I don't fucking know any of these people. These are all fucking celebrities and shit like that. And as I said, I'm a fucking rando like you probably are listening to this. But with that being said, Chael Sonnen in these Twitter jokes, I don't know. How do you guys feel about this? I honestly don't like. I didn't see this on Chael Sonnen's fucking Twitter. I'm just seeing all of the backlash. Like, oh, Chael Sonnen turns into a lowly internet joke thief. It's like, man, I've thought about this before, because of course everybody loves these little Twitter jokes, but I mean, I don't know. I've always thought, who the fuck writes these things? Like, do comedians really sit around and think about little funny fucking Twitter jokes like this one per se? Just fucking saw a guy wearing a hat. Like, did that really just, did Kate Quigley really even do that? Like, or did she really sit around and think of that fucking joke? Like, I don't even know. And then another thing that I'm thinking, like, why this isn't a big deal. I mean, even if she wrote it, I mean, I'm sure she did wrote it. I'm not saying accusing her of fucking stealing that joke, but I really don't give a fuck, honestly. But another thing I was gonna say is, this joke was from what, fucking 5 months ago or 6 months ago on Twitter. Winner is the rest of the world. Chael Sonnen's introducing this joke to a new audience. All right, no, I guess could have gave credit. There's not even enough fucking Twitter characters to give credit. He couldn't put like Kate Quigley at the end. There's not enough Twitter characters. I mean, it's Twitter. I get what they're saying, but I don't know. You guys get where the fuck I'm going here. I really don't personally give I know Chael Sonnen doesn't give a fuck. I personally don't. With a Twitter joke, I understand if you're a fucking stand-up comedian and someone's like taking food out of your mouth with this joke, but I don't think Chael Sonnen was really, you know, trying to, if anything, Chael Sonnen was probably trying to flatter Kate Quigley. I don't fucking know, dog. With that being said, I'm talking. It is what it is. What do you guys think about Chael? Oh, and another thing about Chael Sonnen, I don't even know who's going to be listening to this video. That's why I don't know where the fuck to go with it. Some of you guys might be listening to this from a fucking comedian standpoint. Some of you are from the MMA world. I know most of my people are from the MMA world. But if you don't know about Chael Sonnen, this dude always comes up with corny ass jokes like this. And when I say comes up with, I don't mean thinks of them on his own. I mean, he's known notoriously. He sells his fights with these shitty little jokes. Like, he was fucking versus Tito Ortiz. He had like 10 reasons Tito Ortiz is going to lose to me, or just some stupid, because when Tito Ortiz goes to the fucking supermarket, he buys his eggs last. Like, just a bunch of stupid shit. And Chael Sonnen just runs with that shit. Do I think Chael Sonnen, a fucking professional fighter, podcaster, he does all type of shit? Do I think he's actually sitting making up jokes on his own? No. But Chael Sonnen is a fucking jokester. I guarantee you 100% Quigley's is not the first fucking joke that Chael Sonnen has borrowed. And like I said in the beginning of the video, before I get out of here, Chael Sonnen is a goddamn gangster. He doesn't care about this fucking backlash. He loves it. He fucking bask in it. He's the bad guy. If you piss Chael Sonnen, if you think, you know, being pissed off at Chael Sonnen is gonna come on, that's literally his game. He's the fucking heel. Go ahead and get mad. Follow him so you can fucking leave him some bad messages. People do that all day anyway. It's fucking Chael Sonnen, the bad guy, the American gangster from Westland P, Oregon. I don't know what else to say. It is what it is. Let the full-time family know what the fuck you tell me in the comments. I'm out.
Da 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 da. It's the motherfucking D-O-double-G.